As a destitute man approached Barron Trump, seeking just a single dollar, the unfolding events took everyone by surprise. A humble gesture would spark a national movement, mend a broken family, and change lives forever. The heartbeat of the city throbbed steadily. The atmosphere buzzed with the soft hum of chatter, while people gracefully navigated the bustling streets and vehicles blared their horns. A figure leaned wearily against the weathered wall of a time-worn convenience store in Cleveland, Ohio, where Broad Street meets 17th Avenue. His clothing, tattered and threadbare, wrapped around him in layers that barely offered any protection against the fierce winter wind. A cardboard sign bearing the words, "Anything helps. God bless," rested beside him. Leonard was the name bestowed upon him, yet it rarely sparked curiosity among most people. At the age of 42, he found himself wandering the streets, a year lost to the shadows of misfortune that had stripped him of all he once held dear. Each day unfolded like a daring adventure. From time to time, a traveler would toss a few coins in his direction, yet most hurried on, deliberately steering clear of his eyes. Leonard felt a chill run through him as he fiddled with his headwear. He watched as a parade of shoes of every kind glided by him. Footwear of all kinds, sneakers, polished loafers, and high heels. Then, from the periphery of his vision, he caught sight of something unusual. A pristine pair of white trainers came to a stop just inches away from him. These garments were not merely expensive, they were the kind of attire reserved for those who were truly youthful and fortunate. With a spark of intrigue, Leonard lifted his gaze. A tall teenager, radiating an air of calm confidence, lingered nearby, his hands resting nonchalantly in the pockets of a stylish jacket. Leonard's eyes squinted against the harsh glare of the sunlight. He knew the face well, yet it eluded his immediate recognition. In a quiet corner, a boy sat, completely unaware of the curious gazes directed his way, lost in the endless scroll of his phone. In the shadows, murmurs floated through the air, while a few discreetly pulled out their smartphones, eager to capture the moment in images. Leonard paused, caught in a moment of uncertainty. He preferred to wait for others to make the first move, only stepping forward when their eyes met his. Yet, there was an intriguing quality to the boy's demeanor that held his attention. He felt a different rhythm, a pace that set him apart from the rest of the group. A sense of hushed watching enveloped the city, a calmness that seemed oddly misplaced amid the chaos. Leonard's voice emerged, parched from the cold as he drew in a breath. He called out, "Hey, young man," striving to keep a smile on his face. "Could you find it in your heart to share $1?" The boy's head tilted ever so slightly, a gesture of curiosity as he sought to confirm his understanding, pausing in the midst of his scrolling. He gradually pivoted to face Leonard, his expression a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Time seemed to stretch and bend, as if the universe paused to listen to the unfolding tale. Leonard steeled himself for the sting of rejection. He had grown familiar with it. Yet, what followed was far from the mundane. "What is the reason behind your need for it?" the young man asked, his tone steady and commanding. Leonard found himself momentarily stunned by the question posed to him. It carried a weight of seriousness, reflecting the young man's genuine curiosity in his question. Leonard's larynx tightened, a subtle yet profound shift in his voice. He had not foreseen the unfolding of a dialogue. He began the tale by rubbing his palms together, seeking the comforting embrace of warmth. "It would bring me great joy to savor a cup of coffee. Should luck be on my side, a sandwich might grace my presence." His voice quivered with emotion. The experience of being questioned was unsettling. Yet, the boy's tone was not marked by ill intent. Instead, it was imbued with a sense of curiosity. The young one drew near, the device that once held his attention now tucked away in his pocket. Leonard felt the weight of unspoken opinions swirling around him, the curious stares of those who questioned why a young soul would choose to be in the company of a man like him. Leonard yearned to retreat, seeking to shield himself from the impending shame. Yet, the boy's gaze held him in a spell. "What do they call you?" The young one posed a question. "Leonard," he murmured, his voice barely lifting above a breath. The boy's brow knitted together, hinting at thoughts swirling in his mind, as if he were pondering something that transcended the here and now. He gave a subtle nod. He declared with striking honesty, "I am Barron." His words carried no hint of arrogance or self-importance. Instead, they were marked by an unexpected sincerity that caught one off guard. The city's whispers returned, yet there was an unmistakable essence to that interaction. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation, hinting that this brief encounter might lead to something much more significant. Leonard found himself at a crossroads, his mind swirling with doubt as he shifted uneasily on the cold pavement beneath him. The Baron's presence was unlike anything he had ever experienced before. Most people either turned away, avoided eye contact, or tossed coins his way, silent as the night. Yet, this young man was not merely hesitant. He engaged in conversation with him as though they were equals. Barron knelt down to meet Leonard's gaze, bringing them to the same height. Leonard found himself momentarily stunned by the unexpected maneuver. Such a feat had never been accomplished until now. "How long will you be with us?" The Baron posed his question with a calm and straightforward demeanor. Leonard paused, caught in a moment of uncertainty. He usually kept his tale to himself. The reason behind his downfall held little intrigue for the masses. Instead, it became a captivating display for their amusement. Yet, there was an enchanting quality to Barron's demeanor. Leonard recognized that almost a year had passed. After the plant closed its doors, my journey with the company came to an end. As time passed, my health took a turn for the worse, leaving me unable to fulfill my rent commitments. He paused, grappling with the weight lodged in his throat. From that moment onward, a gradual descent has unfolded. Barron's irises narrowed slightly as he leaned in, his focus sharp, absorbing every word with a keen sense of purpose. The teenager's expression danced between curiosity and concern, as if he were piecing together a riddle in the depths of his mind. Leonard found himself puzzled by this expression. Leonard noticed the palpable tension rising among the crowd that encircled them. Whispers danced through the air as individuals exchanged thoughts, their voices barely rising above a hush. The young Trump heir's striking presence, huddled on the sidewalk next to a destitute man, drew the attention of passers-by, their intrigue ignited. "What of kin?" The Baron posed a question. Leonard tightened his jaw and gave a slow shake of his head. "I find myself without a considerable share of that now. Several years have slipped by since my parents departed from this world. Once upon a time, there was a brother. It has been quite some time since our last exchange." He let out a dry, sardonic laugh. When one has already faced the depths of loss, there remains little to be taken away. Barron fell into a thoughtful silence, weighing Leonard's words as if they held the weight of a profound tale. Then, with unwavering gaze, he delved into his pocket. Leonard felt his heart race. He had asked for just $1. Yet, Barron's actions revealed a unique viewpoint. When his hand appeared, it was not clutching a mere bill. Instead, it revealed a pristine $100 note. Leonard squinted, his eyes wide with disbelief at the sight before him. With a flourish, Barron presented the bill, declaring, "Here. This ought to embrace a broader spectrum of subjects, beyond merely coffee." Leonard stood captivated, his eyes fixed on the shimmering pile of money before him. For a fleeting moment, he found himself unable to move. It was not just the number. It was the very essence of the act. "Is your sincerity genuine?" At last, Leonard found the courage to ask, his voice trembling with anticipation. "What compels you to take that path?" With a nonchalant gesture, Barron simply shrugged. "I possess the ability to accomplish that." Leonard stood in awe, taken aback by the sheer simplicity of his reply. Yet just as he was about to reply, Barron stepped forward. "But listen," he continued, his voice weaving in and out, softening into a more tender tone. "This journey transcends mere financial gain. I seek a promise from you." "What could that possibly be?" Leonard asked, gripping the bill tightly as though it might vanish into thin air. Barron's demeanor shifted, taking on a weighty seriousness. "Should I lend you my hand today, it will be your turn to take the reins tomorrow. Do we have a consensus?" Leonard felt a peculiar tightness in his throat, as if a lump had taken residence in his larynx. The words hit him with an unexpected intensity. For the first time in what felt like an endless stretch of time, he was not merely being handed a lifeline. They beckoned him to rise from the depths into which he had fallen. Leonard nodded, yet the right words eluded him. With a nod of approval, Barron stood up, his presence commanding the room. He surveyed the gathering crowd, his calm presence unshaken by the eyes upon him. Leonard felt a flush rise to his cheeks as he noticed people capturing the moment on their phones. He found himself adrift in a sea of conflicting feelings. Do you find yourself in a state of gratitude? Do you find yourself feeling a bit shy? Or perhaps a combination of the two? Once again, Barron delved into his pocket, extracting a small notepad and a pen with a flourish. With a swift motion, he jotted down a few words and passed the frayed scrap of paper to Leonard. At the break of dawn tomorrow, make your way to this location. Help will be offered. Share that Barron sent you my way. With a subtle quiver, Leonard's hands opened the note, revealing its secrets. It was the location of a nearby shelter and resource center, a place he had heard whispers of but never dared to step foot in, held back by the weight of his own pride and the sting of humiliation. The Baron declared, "I shall see to it that they are ready for your coming." His tone held steady and resolute. Leonard clutched the paper and the money, feeling the atmosphere shift around them like a living entity. It was more than just kindness. A feeling of hope filled the air. A realm shrouded in shadows for what felt like an eternity began to shimmer with a delicate, wavering glow. Leonard sensed that this was merely the dawn of something greater. Leonard sat still, his eyes fixed on the note and the $100 bill in his hands, as though they were artifacts from another world. His thoughts danced in a haze, swaying between doubt and a flicker of hope. The Baron chose to linger a while longer before taking his leave. Instead, he stayed in his seat, fixing his gaze on Leonard with a focus that felt nearly disquieting. It was clear that he was offering something far beyond a simple tip. Perhaps what he was yearning for was a recognition or a promise. Leonard's voice trembled as he cleared his throat, a hint of uncertainty lingering in the air. "What is the purpose behind this? What brings about your worry?" "You have yet to become acquainted with my presence." Barron's lips curled into a subtle smile as he gently tilted his head. "Leonard, this arises from the truth that each person carries a tale within them. Your tale remains untold." He paused to take in the gathering crowd as it started to take shape. "Truly, what reason would I have to pass up the chance to make a positive impact?" Leonard found himself taken by surprise. Throughout the years he had come across countless empty phrases, yet Barron's voice carried a sincerity that was unmistakable. Yet the whispers of doubt lingered in his mind, refusing to fade away. Leonard declared with a resolute voice, "You are not bound to compensate me in any way. In my time spent in this place, I have noticed that people rarely stop to lend a hand without expecting something in return." Once again, Barron descended, bringing his eyes level with Leonard's. "While I hold no expectations, I believe that even the smallest of actions can lead to remarkable results." With a gesture, he directed attention to the note that rested in Leonard's grasp. "What is the name of that place?" "They provide guidance, employment initiatives, and tools tailored to support you on your journey. I kindly ask that you grace us with your presence." Leonard swallowed with determination, feeling a knot form in his throat. He took a moment to scrutinize the note, where the address was inscribed in meticulous handwriting. He longed to embrace this as authentic, yet the weight of his past disappointments had made him unyielding. Furthermore, what unfolds if I find myself unable to complete the task? What unfolds if I err? Barron shook his head, a subtle smile playing on his lips. "Ah, Leonard, it's a truth universally acknowledged that we all stumble along the way. But what if we surrender to despair? That is the only way you might find yourself facing a loss." Leonard found himself taken aback by the intensity behind his words, even though they were straightforward. In that moment, the teenager's voice emerged as the sole sound, cutting through the cacophony of the bustling metropolis, which momentarily faded into the background. The throng encircling them had swelled, and devices were now prominently aimed in their direction. A soft whisper floated through the air. "Is that Barron Trump?" Leonard felt a flutter of anxiety as the eyes around him began to gather, drawn to the unfolding moment. He found himself unaccustomed to the bright glare of attention, the weight of countless gazes upon him pressing down like a heavy cloak. The Baron seemed utterly unfazed. Indeed, his serene presence stood in sharp contrast to Leonard's palpable discomfort, and it seemed he flourished amidst the tension. Barron spoke softly, as though he could sense Leonard's thoughts. Forget about them. Right now, it's just you and me in this moment. Only one stands out as truly significant. Leonard felt an unusual wave of relief enveloping him. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, he sensed the warmth of visibility wrapping around him. A keen eye fell upon him, one that truly saw, and with genuine care, ventured into dialogue. He finally declared, "All right," his voice steady and resolute. "I shall take my leave. I shall make my presence known." Barron's demeanor softened, and a genuine smile blossomed. "That is all I long to listen to." He stood up, brushed off his knees, and cast a look at the crowd. "And Leonard?" he continued, his voice now rich and vibrant, as though he were addressing a grand assembly. "Within you lies a wellspring of strength that you have yet to fully recognize. Kindly keep in mind that—" Leonard found himself enveloped in a swirl of emotions, a poignant blend of humiliation and gratitude, prompting him to blink in surprise. He yearned to share his thoughts, yet the words eluded him. Instead, he simply nodded, clutching the note tightly in his hand as if it were a vital connection to something greater. The crowd began to scatter, their excitement palpable as they buzzed with whispers about the impending departure of the Baron. Leonard watched as he melted away into the bustling city, his silhouette blending seamlessly with the throng of people. Leonard felt a flicker of hope, a spark of something he had thought was gone forever, illuminating his heart for the first time in years. In the quiet corners of our hearts, a flicker of light emerges, a promise of brighter days ahead. As he examined the note again, a spark of understanding ignited within him. This was the first step on his journey to reclaiming his life. Leonard found himself standing before the address that Barron had shared with him the next morning. In the heart of Cleveland, there stood a humble masonry building, the Hope Outreach Resource Center, nestled away on a tranquil street, inviting those in need to step inside and discover the support within. A simple sign marked the way to its entrance. A gentle flow of people came and went, some clutching grocery bags, while others seemed just as unsure as Leonard. He clutched the note in his pocket, his fingertips gliding over the edges, a gentle reminder that this was indeed reality and not a figment of his imagination. He kept the $100 bill safely tucked away in the folds of his jacket. A part of him longed to hold on to it, to keep the kindness as proof that the events of yesterday had indeed taken place. Yet, another facet of his being, stirred by Barron's words, whispered that it transcended mere financial gain. It was a chance to embark on a fresh journey. With a deep breath, Leonard stepped into the building, the weight of the world momentarily lifted from his shoulders. As he stepped inside, the building's warmth wrapped around him like a comforting embrace, a delightful contrast to the biting chill that lingered outside. With a warm smile and kind eyes, the receptionist, a middle-aged woman, raised her head from her desk. "How may I weave my skills to help you today?" With a moment of uncertainty, Leonard carefully retrieved the note and slid it across the counter. "Ah, Barron has sent me to this very spot." As her eyes fell upon the paper, a knowing smile graced her lips, hinting at secrets yet to unfold. "Ah, Leonard, the moment we have long awaited has finally come." With a graceful gesture, she beckoned him to come along. "Let us begin our journey." The hours that followed unfolded in a haze. A caseworker sat down with Leonard, attentively absorbing his narrative, crafting a thoughtful plan to assist him in finding his way once more. In a gesture of kindness, they offered him a temporary cot at their shelter, arranged a doctor's appointment to tend to his health issues, and linked him to a job training program to help him on his journey. Leonard felt a profound wave of relief wash over him, as though the scattered pieces of his life were being carefully put back together for the first time in many years. As the evening settled in, Leonard found himself perched on the edge of his cot in the shelter, replaying the events of the past 24 hours in his mind, each moment vivid and alive. In the quiet moments of life, there lies the gaze of another, the hand extended in kindness, and the unexpected warmth of a benevolent soul. It was quite an odd tale. He pondered Barron's words and the promise he had made to himself to seek his own support. Despite the challenges ahead, Leonard felt a spark of belief that this time it could truly be possible. Barron's gesture started to ripple through the world beyond their expectations, its effects reaching far beyond the confines of the shelter. In the blink of an eye, A bystander's video capturing their encounter had taken the internet by storm. The young Trump heir's surprising gesture of kindness captured the attention of many, as headlines erupted across social media with fervor. The video showcased Barron kneeling beside Leonard, offering him the money and sharing words of encouragement that struck a chord with countless viewers. Some whispered it was merely a ploy for attention, while others argued it was a rare moment of true kindness from someone with power and privilege. One truth shone through, despite the differences of opinion. The video unveiled an unfiltered and powerful journey. Barron's actions ignited a spark within individuals from all walks of life, encouraging them to come forth to Hope Outreach Resource Center with their generous donations and support. Leonard remained oblivious to the fact that his tale had become the focal point of a nationwide conversation. He found himself consumed by the journey that awaited him, filled with moments like stepping into his first counseling session, navigating the maze of job applications, and slowly piecing together the fragments of his self-assurance. As Leonard settled in for the night, a gentle wave of relief washed over him, easing the weight of the past year. The young man who had paused to lend a hand was creating quite a commotion elsewhere, yet Leonard's focus remained on a simpler concern: embrace the promise he had forged by navigating each day as it comes. By the week's end, Leonard found himself noticing the delicate shifts in the world around him and the transformations taking place within his own being. The personnel at the shelter bestowed upon him a kindness he had not known in years. They offered him both tangible support and uplifting words, highlighting that his tale was far from finished. The shelter community had received word of his journey in a subtle way. His courage to take that initial leap sparked a flame in others, who had been battling their own struggles in silence, encouraging them to reach out to him. "If you can do it, I might just find a way to do it as well," a man remarked, giving Leonard a hearty thump on the back. Leonard felt a warm glow of pride swell within him, stirred by the simple yet profound gesture. Yet, Leonard's tale found its voice as he stepped out of the shelter. The video of his encounter with Barron Trump spread like wildfire across social media, racking up millions of views in just a few days. The event captured the attention of numerous news outlets, each delving into the details with great care. The actions of Barron sparked lively discussions among commentators, who pondered the authenticity versus the performative nature of his deeds, while observers from all corners of the nation took to the internet to share their thoughts. One tweet proclaimed, "Privilege with a purpose. This is the way it is used to bring about greater good." It is truly disheartening that such compassion is so rare that it catches us off guard. Yet Barron deserves our recognition for showing that it is indeed possible. Leonard became aware of the spotlight when a shelter employee shared the video with him. Leonard found himself swept up in a whirlwind of feelings: humiliation, gratitude, and an elusive emotion while he watched his own image flicker on the screen. The hollow eyes, the defeated posture, and the man in the video seemed like a distant echo of someone he once knew. It stood as a testament to how far he had fallen and, perhaps, the heights he could still reach. In the meantime, Barron chose to remain silent amidst the growing uproar. He chose to step back from interviews, held his tongue on public statements, and turned a blind eye to the online buzz. From his vantage point, this was not a moment to bask in praise. Leonard took center stage. Barron quietly ensured that the shelter received substantial donations, allowing it to broaden its programs and support even more individuals like Leonard. This was achieved in the shadows, where the magic unfolds unnoticed. The video sparked a broader movement. Individuals from every corner of the nation started to recount their own tales of generosity, tagging them with phrases like "kindness challenge" and "pay it forward." In a remarkable turn of events, local organizations witnessed a remarkable increase in donations, while volunteers gathered in great numbers, inspired by Barron's simple yet powerful gesture. For Leonard, the ripple effect took on a deeper significance. One evening, as he sat in the warm glow of the shelter's common room, a figure emerged from the shadows, a familiar face from the past. "Ah, Leonard?" the person asked with a hint of trepidation. Leonard strained his eyes, trying to discern the features of the person before him. In that moment, the truth unveiled itself. Who might Paul be? His voice quivered as he spoke. It was his younger sibling, a figure from the past, with whom he had not exchanged words for more than a decade. The burden of forgotten time lingered in the air as the two men locked eyes, each reflecting on the moments that had slipped away. Paul leaned in, sharing. I caught the video as he settled next to him. I had no idea that your situation had worsened so significantly. I regret not reaching out to you sooner. Leonard battled his feelings, shaking his head with a heavy heart. Your burden does not lie here. I certainly did not make it easy for anyone to find me. Paul's hand brushed against Leonard's shoulder. In this moment, I am here, fully engaged, with no intention of leaving. The reunion carried a bittersweet air, evoking memories of what had been lost, while also hinting at the possibilities for renewal and rebuilding. This marked another step in Leonard's odyssey toward healing. Not just his circumstances, but also the connections he forged and how he viewed himself. As the weeks unfolded, Leonard started to see his tale as a celebration of strength rather than a sorrowful saga. And even though a long journey lay before him, he carried with him a revitalized sense of purpose, ignited by the kindness of a stranger who had given more than mere coins. Hope had been rekindled within him by his own hand,